Hello, everybody. This is the Dragon King. Welcome to Dragon King 72 Media LLC on YouTube, Dragon King 72 Media LLC on Twitter, Dragon King 72 Media LLC on TikTok, Dragon King 72 Media LLC on Instagram. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed my last video. And I believe I put it on all platforms of me discussing Idris Elba's, the black UK actor who was talking about how a black Bond is too woke. Go check that video out and let me know what you think. I would love to hear from you. This video today, if you've seen the caption, I'm a little pissed off because I'm not happy with the way the ladies on The View, the ABC #1 daytime talk show, conducted themselves with JD Vance. That was an interview that was a long time coming, and I can tell you right now, I was disappointed like a motherfucker. And there were two people in particular that I had an issue with. One, not really a big deal. The other one was very severe. Let's start off where he was pushing the book. That's another reason he was on the show. And I really think that regardless of Democrats or Republican, if you're a Democrat or Republican representative, you should not be coming on there with a fucking book to sell. It should be about, you know, your constituents and non-constituents having concerns, and that's why you're on that show. We want to address some national topics that are affecting our politics. That's when you invite a politician onto The View and other shows that have been similar to it, that might be still around, and some that were around. With that being said, they shouldn't have been promoting this book. You know, an everyday person with a true life social story, or somebody else, but not a politician. You know what I'm saying? They should not be allowed to be on there and hawk their book. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Democrat or Republican. I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, and I would say the same thing. No, we want to talk about the topics. We don't give a fuck about your book. We want to talk about what is going on with you, how you moving, the legislation you be a part of, both for your constituents and non-constituents of people who did not vote for you. Oh yeah, by the way, happy Pride Month. And I just really think that they shouldn't be on the promoting books. So getting back to his faith, or coming back home to his faith, or whatever, I don't know. He said he was a religious person, then he was an atheist, then he was now he's a Catholic. And so they didn't ask him the questions that they should have asked him. And just off the top, they should have asked him about how he threw his wife, his Hindu faith wife, who he's about to have his third child with, JD Vance, about how it was earlier this year or sometime late last year at a Turning Point event where he talked about how he's a new Catholic and he hopes that his wife is eventually going to come over to the Catholic religion. And it's kind of like, you know, we don't see it eye to eye. He basically, at that Turning Point convention, he made it seem like his faith was the only ones that mattered, and that, you know, hers didn't, but he still married her anyway. You knew who she was when you married her. She knew who you was when she married you, and you all knew each other's faith and religious background, but yet you chose to marry her anyway. But at a Turning Point convention, you made all that seem just like it didn't matter, like it was some generic religion, some generic faith. Come on. And that's just not what it should be. Especially if you're marrying somebody, you got to get all that worked out. Come on, dude, come on. You got to get all that worked out before you walk down the aisle. Dude, come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Come on. You got to get all that worked out before you walk down the aisle. So anyway, he's on The View this morning. Today is June 16, 2026. He was on The View this morning. And so he's hawking that book. And they were asking him questions from about his religion, to ICE, to Iran, to inflation, and to the anti-DI attacks on black history in this country, black accomplishments and things. So they ran the gambit, basically, of, the questions, but they didn't go intense. I don't know if that was due to a lack of time. As a matter of fact, they shouldn't even had hot topics. He should have came on first. They shouldn't have done no hot topics. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't have done no hot topics. They should have went straight into that interview as soon as they got at that table. But that's not what they did. Because maybe they had more time to ask the right questions instead of these filter questions, which I think that they were. And I'm not sure how The View works, but I have had it explained to me, or it has been explained to the audience, that what happens is they pick a random bunch of, it's almost like a lottery of topics. People come in there, hey, say, let's talk about this, let's talk about this. And they talk about the ones, I guess, that have more weight in terms of how, who's talking about it, how long they've been talking about it, and what have you. And so for that, I guess that's, like I said, it's a lottery of topics. I may be wrong, but I believe that's how they do it on The View. However, when you have somebody, I knew Joy was going in and I knew Anna was going to go in. And let me just say that when I watched it, I was so disappointed in how they were throwing these softball pitches at this Vice President J.D. Vance, especially Alyssa Farrah Griffin, when it came to Iran and the war and, as far as the time zone and when it was going in and things of that nature. So, of course she went light, you know what I'm saying? She went light. And she went light because it was a Republican that she was talking to. It was a Republican that she was talking to, so she was going light. And I mean, everybody else should have peeped that whole situation. Because it was a Republican, she went light. And you ain't gonna convince me or tell me otherwise. Whenever there's been a Democrat on that TV show and at that table, it's always been, she's always went ham. She's always went in on the Democrat that was at that table. She's always went in and always asking the questions. And what I noticed about her, as she was asking these questions, she would also give this look of disgust, like, I know you're lying. I know you're not going to give me the truth. And that's what it was given every time Alyssa Farrah Griffin would ask a Democratic question. It was always like, she's waiting on a lie. She's waiting on a fake answer. And for me, maybe I'm the only one that peeped that out. So I didn't think that she was going to have any energy. And I tweeted her this morning before I left the house to walk my dog on June the 16th, 2026. I tweeted, why didn't Alyssa Farrah Griffin, keep that same energy when it came to when she's asking questions to the Democrats? The energy is not the same. And so I knew that's how she was going at it. And then she pulled a stunt at the end. You know what I'm saying? Is this to appease that man so he can come back to the show? And I'm going to tell you about that later on. So then we get to Sonny. Sonny's discussing. No, let's go to Anna. Anna starts talking about immigration. You know what I'm saying? As a daughter of immigration, she's a come on, stop, out your mouth. She's a refugee. You know what I'm saying? From, I believe, is either Nicaragua or Honduras. I want to say Honduras, you know what I'm saying? I could be wrong. She talks about Venezuela a lot, you know what I'm saying, which would make sense considering Maduro was, him and his wife were captured and imprisoned last year, earlier this year. It might have been earlier this year, maybe earlier. But y'all can go get all that information in the comments. And so, you know, she was asking them, hey, what about immigration? You're separating families. They're talking about the people that are in these, at this point, concentration camps. The water is bad. They have no health. They're not being fed properly. The health care is not there. They're being mistreated. You know, and of course he negated, oh no, that's not happening. We're taking care of our prisoners. It's the United States. We don't do that type of stuff. You know, we value everybody's, you know, enemy or foe. The Geneva Convention says that you have to treat your prisoners, captives, with humanity. You have to feed them. You have to give them basic health care. And so, you know, he's saying all that, but juking and jiving, as we say in the black culture, just lying up and down. And so what happens is, you know, Anna is so disgusted, you can tell. You can absolutely tell. And then Sonny talks about the whole DEI thing, unemployment, you know what I'm saying? Jobs being lost, you know, people who black Americans, minorities, they're being ripped from history. They're taking away, you know, pictures of historical black people in prominent public areas, you know what I'm saying? And Sonny was right, they're erasing fucking history. And so Sarah chimes in with the whole, of course, Joy's talking about, and let's go to Joy. Joy talks about the whole inflation thing. You know, she said, Donald Trump says he's loving inflation, da-da-da-da-da. And she said, oh no, Joy, he didn't say that. Of course he's deflecting. He's deflecting all fucking day long. But Joy was going ham. She was upset. She couldn't get, she was just, you know, outdone. She was absolutely outdone. And I was glad that Joy was there, because that's who you want. When you coming up such a volatile and toxic person like J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, the whole administration, Pam Bondi, you want the right people at that table when those people show the fuck up. You know, Anna, Sonny, Joy, and Whoopi. I didn't care for what Sarah asked, you know, girl, get all that religious shit. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. I didn't care for it. But I knew Anna was going in, and she stayed going in. Joy did too. And so Sarah asked her question about the whole Christianity. Well, you say you're a Christian in your book, you know, he gave a little bio, a little profile about who he is and his upbringing, culture, and all the things, right? So then she threw it back at him. Well, if you're a Christian, Christians don't treat people with the way the government has been treating immigrants, minorities, you know. So she's kind of laying down what the fabric is, I guess, the foundational fabric of what a Christian is and how she was raised. And not, you know, I'm not Christian. I don't support the whole, no, I don't do no religion, honey. No, I'm not with it. Y'all can be with it and stay with it, but not me. So then you have, so he said, oh, I'm a Christian and I believe in this and my Savior. We could have skipped that whole Christian conversation, the whole religion. Get the fuck out of here with that, okay? You know, because he said he used to be an atheist and he got back at Catholicism. What prompted you to go from believing in something and then atheist? You must have got some epiphany about what you were told about Christianity and God, period, if you became an atheist. Because an agnostic. Because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. So, but I believe he lying. He just did that to become the vice president of the United States. So there's really no, come on, dude, come on. What's going on? So needless to say, when he was talking all the Christian stuff, I wasn't believing in none of it. I don't support it, never will. And I had my awakening of, you know, dismantling my ties to the Christianity back in late 2017, early 2018, because things were going on in my life, and I just, you know, and then, you know, being a gay person, they quick to tell you that, you know, you're supposed to go to church. The whole Bible, The book of Leviticus talks about people like myself, but you still want me to go to church. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to be a part of that process. You know what I'm saying? You will never really accept me. Come on, Duke. No, it's too dirty out here. Come on, let's go. Come on. I'm talking to my dog. He likes to mess around in this grass. It's wet and nasty. But so the whole religious part of it, I could have just deleted that part. You know what I'm saying? And also, let me just a little side note. Sarah is an independent. Sarah Haynes is an independent. You can be an independent. You can be a Republican. You can be a Democrat, liberal, what naturalist, or whatever the fuck the new term is. You can do all of that and be all that. But see, I personally don't trust independence, because at this point, with the way things are going on in our political climate, you got to choose a side, and that's just what I think you need to do. You have to choose a side, because I don't trust people who are independents, because you know what I'm saying, they can lie until your face doing this, but they go to the polls and do some other shit. So I don't trust anybody that say they independents. I just don't. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? I just don't. Stop. I'm all for free thinkers. I'm all for people who can, see past the bullshit and rise above it. But independent thinkers, I don't trust those people when it comes to politics. You can be independent on movies, you know what I'm saying, social shit. That's fine. But when it comes to politics and you being an independent, I can't trust that you're going to tell me one thing to my face, and as soon as election time comes, you behind that screen doing a whole nother fucking thing. And, not just to keep your social standing or something like that. Now, if you were the type of motherfucker say, oh, I'm an independent, but I voted Republican this time, or I voted Democrat this time, I can respect that. Don't mean I still trust you, but I can respect it because you've told me out loud. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no guessing what you finna do in the poll or who you voted for. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no fucking guessing. So all the Christian stuff I just wasn't trying to deal with. I didn't want to listen to, and I just felt it was absolute garbage. And so Whoopi starts talking about Whoopi was saying, why is there such an attack on black people, our history, removing us from museums, historical sites, places where the public could see the history, good, bad, or indifferent. So, and, because Donald Trump had removed all the black people, photos, images from the White House and anywhere else. Pete Hegseth is literally trying to erase black people from the military. Case in point, West Point, if you know anything about West Point, it's a military academy, they had a yearly graduation, and I think it was last month. And he said this man looked out into a fucking audience. He looked out into an audience that was full with blacks, whites, male, female, Asians, Native Americans, whoever. The crowd was the military graduates were the epitome of diversity. The epitome of diversity. But this motherfucker said diversity is not our strong suit. Meanwhile, the whole crowd is diversity. It is if you looked at those military men and women out in that graduate audience, they are the epitome of the word diversity. But yet he's sitting there saying diversity is not your fucking strength. He's removed another thing Sonny said. He was telling J.D. Vance, black people who have earned the rank in the military, they've all but been removed. Promotions have been halted. And, it's just, he's trying to figure out how all this came about. And it's just a shame, and so, and J.D. Vance, he has no real answer. He has no genuine, authentic answer, And so Alyssa, at the end, she says, "Oh yes, she's dying to give him that T-shirt. It's a baby infant T-shirt for we would just want to give it something for you and your wife. We know you have a little one coming. If I was his wife after he threw me under the bus and my religion under the bus, as if it didn't fucking matter, in front of an audience of MAGA people at a Turning Point convention, nigga, that would have been you would have never got pussy again. You would have, come on, dude. you would have never got pussy again. Stop it. You would have never got pussy again if I was his wife. Whatever the fuck her name is. Making those comments about my religion. And stop. Come on, Duke, come on. Making those comments about my religion and the people that believe in that faith. You know what I'm saying? While you sitting in front of 100 people that are, Christian nationalists. Because that's all they were Christian nationalists. That would have been the last time Mr. J.D. Vance, if I was his wife, he wouldn't have been getting any pussy from me. Not to mention another child. I mean, what the fuck? But that just goes to show you that, they fucking bananas. So, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And, when Alyssa gave him a baby t-shirt with the Views logo on it, trying to appease the man as if they want him back, you know what I'm saying, for what? So y'all cannot ask the right fucking questions. So in closing, minus Joy, Anna, and Sonny, and a little bit of Whoopi, the ladies on The View, if y'all ever see this, y'all disappointed the viewers in the studio and the ones at home who watched it, like myself. Y'all threw softball pitches, and you shouldn't have did that. You should have been hard. Those pitches should have been hard. You know what I'm saying? You should have asked some questions. That whole broadcast, today's show, should have been done different. It shouldn't have been no hot topics, but get his ass out there so you can ask the real questions. So, peace out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you all later. And don't forget to, tell people about the channel, Dragon King 72 Media L.L.C. We on our way. I'm hoping to build a dynasty with my media company. And so let's come on board. Get in early. All right, pieces.